You know that feeling? Constant bloating, unexpected dashes to the bathroom, or just days of discomfort? Sound familiar? Well, you're not alone. Tens of millions of people struggle with digestive disorders. But what if a solution wasn't found in a pill, but in a simple pouch placed right on your navel? We're about to explore a fascinating case series that looks at just that.
And this isn't just about feeling crummy. It's a massive economic burden. I mean, look at this number. In the United States alone, the annual healthcare cost for these conditions is a staggering $111.8 billion. That number really tells a story about just how widespread and persistent this problem really is.
So with a problem this big, we're always looking for the next big thing, the next breakthrough. But what if a potential answer isn't new at all? What if it's been kind of hiding in plain sight for centuries? That's the huge question at the heart of the paper we're digging into today.
Okay, so let's really dive into the scale of this. For millions of people, digestive problems aren't just, a now and then thing. They're a chronic condition that really impacts their quality of life every single day. Just think about these numbers for a second. Chronic constipation, that hits up to 16% of adults. And this one's wild. If you've ever been on antibiotics, there's up to a 35% chance you've dealt with diarrhea because of it. That's more than 1 in 3 patients. It just shows how easily our whole gut system can get thrown out of whack.
And here's the real kicker. The standard treatments, they just don't work for everyone. In fact, almost half of all patients, 45%, just give up on them. And why? Well, either the side effects are just too much to handle, or they're simply not getting the relief they so desperately need. So it's no wonder people start looking for other options.
And that search for alternatives brings us right here. The study we're looking at explored a therapy from traditional Chinese medicine that's totally different. It doesn't involve swallowing a single pill. Instead, everything is focused on the navel, your belly button. So in traditional Chinese medicine, the navel, which they call shenkui, is seen as this special gateway to the rest of the body. The thinking is pretty simple, actually. The skin there is really thin, and it's seen as a central hub for all the body systems. This makes it, theoretically, a perfect spot to apply remedies to directly influence the gut.
Now, this isn't some one-size-fits-all deal. As you can see right here, the whole approach is super targeted. The pouch for diarrhea is meant to harmonize or rebalance the system. The one for constipation is designed to moisten and, ease things along. And for something as serious as appendicitis, there's a specific formula to clear heat toxin, which you can kind of think of as calming down severe inflammation. Different problems, different herbal solutions.
So the big question is, does it actually work? This is where we get to the really human part of the story. The paper goes into the experiences of 9 different patients, from a tiny 20-day-old baby to a 76-year-old woman, and each one has a pretty compelling story.
So let's start with case number 1. What you're looking at are the actual translated WeChat messages between the parents and the practitioner. Pretty cool, right? Their 11-month-old had terrible diarrhea after a round of antibiotics. We're talking 6, maybe more, watery stools a day. So they applied this spleen health pouch to her belly button, and the results were just dramatic. Within 48 hours, her system completely calmed down, and her appetite and energy just came roaring back. I mean, what a huge turnaround for such a little kid.
And just to show how versatile this therapy might be, let's flip to the exact opposite problem, constipation. This is the story of a 5-year-old boy who was only able to go to the bathroom every 3 days or so. His parents put this specific constipation pouch on him, and in just 3 days, he was already on a much more regular 48-hour cycle. And again, you can see the back-and-forth conversation tracking his improvement in real time.
But maybe the most dramatic story of all is case number 3. You've got a 42-year-old man who shows up with all the classic signs of acute appendicitis. We're talking severe pain. He rated it an 8 out of 10, plus a fever, nausea, chills. He was in really bad shape.
Now get this, instead of rushing straight to the hospital, he tried the acute appendicitis pouch. He put it on his navel and also right over the spot where the pain was. The result reported in the paper is just stunning. It says there was marked improvement within just 2 hours. Think about that for a second. From an 8 out of 10 pain to significant relief in the time it takes to watch a movie. That's pretty incredible.
So these individual stories are really powerful, right? But what's the bigger picture here? Well, across all 9 patients, the author noticed 3 key patterns. The therapies seemed to be rapid, the results were lasting, and it appeared to be completely safe.
This timeline really puts it all into perspective. You see the appendicitis pain relief starting in just 2 hours. For the baby's diarrhea and the little boy's constipation, you see big improvements within 2 to 3 days. But here's what's really amazing to me.
That last point. For the man with the appendicitis symptoms, he had no recurrence even 3 years later. That suggests this isn't just a temporary band-aid.
So let's just quickly recap the main takeaways reported in this paper. First, it was rapid. People felt better in hours or days, not weeks. Second, the benefits were durable, they lasted. Third, it had excellent tolerability. From a tiny infant to a 76-year-old, nobody reported any side effects. And finally, it was remarkably versatile, seeming to work on opposite problems like diarrhea and constipation.
Okay, these results, they sound almost too good to be true, right? So this is where we have to take a deep breath, step back, and ask that really critical question. Is this genuine hope, or is it just hype?
And this is where we have to balance the promise against the proof. On one side, you have these genuinely impressive stories from 9 real people. But on the other side, the hard scientific proof, well, it's pretty light. This is what's called a case series, which is basically a collection of anecdotes. It is absolutely not the gold standard of medical evidence, which would be a large-scale, randomized controlled trial.
Now, to its credit, the paper is very upfront about the limitations. The sample size is obviously tiny. We're just talking about 9 people. There was no control group, no placebo group to compare the results against. And this part is really important. The author of the study is also the inventor of these herbal pouches, which creates a potential commercial interest. Now, that doesn't automatically mean the findings are wrong, but it is a critical piece of context you have to keep in mind.
So where does all this leave us? Well, with a fascinating, very promising, but ultimately unproven idea. These stories suggest there could be a simple, safe, and effective therapy for some of our most common gut problems. But for right now, it's just a starting point, one that is practically screaming for more rigorous scientific research. It leaves us with a really fascinating question. Could the future of gut health be as simple as looking to your belly button? For now, we'll just have to wait and see.